Hello guys, hope you all are doing well. So let's start with the Palo Alto HA2 lab. So basically, in this lab, let's note down a little bit of things that we are going to cover. So this is how our setup will look like. Two Palo Alto firewalls in active, and let's consider this as an internet router, and this is our router on inside network. So in this case, we would need a control link called as HA1 link. For that, in this lab, we will use ETH1/3 interface. Then for data link called as HA2 link, we will use ETH1/5 interface, and for HA3, in this case, we will use ETH1/4 interface, right? So let's start with configuration on Palo Alto firewall. So first step is we need to make this interfaces as HA. So looks like this one is already under HA, so that's cool. ETH3 is our control link primary. This one we need to make it as HA3 interface, right? And ETH5 is already data link uh, primary. Okay, that's cool. So once that's done, let's start with the setup on primary firewall. So we need to go to device, high availability. Then under HA, we will enable HA. Let's give a group ID of 50, call it PA1. And in this case, we are going to set up active. It gives us warning that if we change mode to active, all active passive configuration would be lost. If you are okay to do that, just click yes. We need to select device ID. So in this case, we will select this as a 0. We will enable config sync, and we need to mention the peer HA1 IP. In this case, we'll give 192.168.168.37. Right. Then let's configure HA1 control link as we wrote here. It would be ETH1/3. So let's use this one. IP is 192.168.168.36 with /24 mask. Okay, cool. Then let's configure data link. For data link, we are going to use fifth ETH1/5. IP address here we will use as 192.168.7.737 with /24 mask, right? So that's done. Then we need to configure election setting. In this case, let's give it 50. Let's enable preemption timer. Keep it recommended. Then once this is done, we need to do active config. So in this case, let's get the HA3 interface as ETH4. We will sync VR QoS, nothing is done, so that's fine. Session owner on first packet and session setup keep default as IP modulus. Right. So secondly, we need to configure this floating IP addresses. So in this case, on like ETH1, which is our outside interface, we have given IP address of 1.1.1.1, right? So floating IP address on ETH we will give as 1.1.1.5. This is for PA1, and then on ETH2, which is our inside interface, IP address is given as it is 1.1.1, and floating also will give it 192.168.1.5. Right. For PA2, ETH1 IP, it would be in outside, then we'll keep it 1.1.1.3, and floating would be 1.1.1.6. For ETH2, in active we need to assign separate IP address for all the interfaces, not like in active passive where both the firewalls they share same IP address on failover. So floating we will give here 192.168.1.6. So this is our IP schema for egress and floating IP address and inside. Right. So once that's done, we have configure here. Now let's configure floating IP. First, let's configure for egress ETH1. IP address will give 1.1.1.5, and then here it says floating IP address would be bound to active primary, so we don't want to bound that. Then we need to mention priority of this virtual IP, as this will be active on Palo Alto Firewall 1, so we'll give priority 10, and it will be passive on Firewall 2, so let's give it 15 and enable failover in case of link goes down. Secondly, we'll configure 1.1.1.6 in a floating, and for this, as it will be active on Palo Alto 2 firewall, give it a priority of 10. Then for inside interface, similarly, we need to provide floating IP address, and for this one we need to provide in a similar way. So once this config is done, let's push commit here, and let's come to this HA2 firewall. So on this HA2 firewall, let's check what happened with this IP address. So it is going to be 1.1.1.3 here. And let's check advanced link state to up. Okay, that's fine. Okay, then this is 192, this is 192.168, 1.3/24, right? Okay, then let's configure this as a HA control link primary and make it a HA interface. Okay, similarly, this will be our HA3 link, and it will be a HA interface. ETH1/5 is our data link primary, and it is a HA interface. Okay, right. So once that's done, let's come to device HA. Let's enable HA priority. We gave 50. Change it to the active mode. device ID we need to give it here 1, and peer IP is 192.168.168.36. Right. Then control link we have decided on using ETH1/3. So IP address would be for this one is 37/24. No backup as of now. Enable session sync. For this we are going to use ETH1 192.168.77.37 for this one. Now once that's done on device priority, let's give priority of 100 to firewall 2. Okay, and let's come to active this one, and here we need to map our HA3 interface, and let's push commit. Now high availability HA should be configured with high availability with HA2 should be configured with state synchronization enabled. Oh, okay. So here actually we did not enable this state synchronization. That's the reason it's complaining on it. So let's enable this, give commit again. Okay, fine, cool. So here commit is completed. State synchronization mismatch, it's complaining. In the meantime, this commit is going on, so the state synchronization should go away. Okay, so it's not, let's synchronize it manually. So as you can see that it says that the mode of the firewall is active and this local firewall is active primary. So reason being it is active primary is device priority of this firewall is 50, whereas device priority for our firewall 2 is 100. So that's the reason this firewall took role as a active primary and our firewall 2 took role as a active secondary, right? Then now as the sync has been completed, peer 1 is active secondary, it's synchronized and all those things got synchronized correctly. Now let's start with few verifications. Let's use this router 6. I just named it as host PC, and the IP address of this test PC is 192.168.1.1. At the moment, if we check default route for this one, it is pointing to 192.168.1.5. That is the virtual IP address of firewall 1, right? Now let's try and check if we are able to reach 1.1.1.2. Okay, that's cool. Now let's do telnet to 1.1.1.2. Yeah. So we are able to log into internet PC, which is this R5. So if we do show users, okay, now we can see that uh, session has been initiated from 192.168.1.2. Reason being, like, we have not configured any NAT here. That's the reason. So we are not able to based looking of this one if the traffic is coming off firewall 1 or firewall 2. So to do that, let's do one thing. Let's configure NAT on firewall. So let's call is NAT for PA1. Original packet would be coming from inside zone. It would go to outside zone. Then translation type, make it dynamic, and on interface address. So interface is ETH1. It's on floating IP, and IP would be ETH1/5. Then HA binding, we need to give a device priority of 0 over here. Right. Similarly, we need to do NAT for firewall 2. So the traffic would come similarly from inside, it will go to outside, and translation would be same base of interface we will do for ETH1, and IP would be floating. This time it would be ETH1/6 and binding on device ID of 1. Let's do a commit. So once push has been done, NAT policies will sync with firewall 2 also, and then we'll run telnet again to internet PC, and this time we should see that the traffic is coming from firewall 1, as we have pointed our default route to virtual IP of firewall 1, right? So if we check, it's 1.5, which is virtual IP of firewall 1. Now let's telnet again to internet PC. So yeah, now you see that the traffic is coming from source 1.1.1.5, which is virtual IP of exit interface of firewall 1, right? Now let's do one thing. Let's change the default route to point to firewall 2. So let's okay, right. So as default route has been changed, let's telnet again to internet PC, and let's log in. Yeah, as we can see that now the traffic is coming from firewall 2, right? So in this way, we have done HA active configuration on Palo Alto firewall. Few more things that we can check is, like, on firewall itself, we can check if the session owner and session setup is, you know which firewall owns that. So if we do show session all, okay, so then show session ID of 320. If we look at this one, session owner is HA active false. So this says that firewall 2 actually is session owner, but session setup is done by this firewall. So this is one of the quick check that we can do to see if which firewall holds the session owner and session setup. Secondly, we can check show high availability virtual address. In this, we can see that 1.1.1.5 is active locally on this one, and 1.1.1.6 is not active on this one. So it says that it's active on firewall 2. Similarly for ETH2, it says that 1.1.5 is active here locally, and 1.6 is active on other firewall. Another command that we'd like to quickly go through is if there is any config issues and we want to see using logs, the command that we can use is mp log ha mp log ha agent dot log. So using this log, we should see um, what's the current status, if there is any issue with configs sync happening, that we can check using this command. So this is basically the lab on Palo Alto HA active. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, please do write. I will try to answer. Thanks for your time. Have a good day. Bye.